looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion? There's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And she's only been in Congress a short time, but she's already compiled a number of greatest hits. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I'm talking about. She's so important. Her idea is so big, so profound. AOC's G&D is going to get an up or down in the Senate, thanks to Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell's all over this, folks.
We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal.
Love it. I think that's very generous of Mitch McConnell to do so.
Who wants to get rid of the American Airlines, United Airlines, all the airlines? We're going to take a choo-choo train, Dan.
Pay you if you're unable or unwilling to work. Free college, free house, government job. It's all good. Ocasio-Cortez, just a couple of the instant classics from Ocasio-Cortez of the recent past, just to give you a sense of the size of the intellect we're dealing with here.
I think the first thing that we need to do is kind of break the mistaken idea that taxes pay for 100% of government expenditure. It's just not how government expenditure works. We can recoup costs, but oftentimes you look at, for example, the GOP tax cut, which I think was an irresponsible use of government expenditure, but government projects are often financed by a combination of taxes, deficit spending, and other kinds of investments, bonds and so on.
Well, I get that, but deficit spending is borrowing money that has to be paid back eventually through taxes.
Yeah, and I think...
Boy, so robust is her understanding of economics that she had to be corrected by an NPR reporter. Just a couple, a little bit more of a taste. You want the flavor?
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
See, she's morally right, so she doesn't have to be economically sound in her thinking. She's morally correct, so she doesn't need to be precisely factual in what she says. And that turns out to work out super well for her.
But
do you think it is moral for individuals to, for instance, do we live in a moral world that allows for billionaires? Is that a moral outcome in and of itself?
No, see? She's morally correct, so she doesn't have to be technically accurate or factual in her explanations. I just wanted you to get a real feel, some layering to Ocasio-Cortez and her many pronouncements over the last several months, since she is the intellectual leader of the Democrat Socialist Party. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, chief economist for CNN. Steve, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Good morning. And by the way, this is, just so you know, this is the whole millennial generation. I mean, this isn't just AOC. This is what the kids have been learning in school for 40 years, and we're paying a high price for it. I mean, AOC is just regurgitating what her professors at Boston University and her high school economics teachers have told her. And this is what we get for letting the left run the government schools for the last 50 years, this kind of economic gibberish. By the way, I loved one of her comments the other day. She was asked how she was going to pay for this, $10 trillion, quote, transformation of the American economy. She said, the government is going to pay for it. And then she said, and if we still need more money, they'll just raise taxes.
Right, yeah. Right. We're going to first use
good. Those are two good solutions.
First, we're going to use the government's money, and then if we need more, we're going to use other people's money. No, I mean this. Look,
exactly.
Steve.
By the way, where does she think the government's money
of
comes
course,
from?
But Steve, she's morally right. And look, as Cory Booker said, did we ask about how much it was going to cost to put a man on the moon? Did we ask how much it was going to cost to defeat the Nazis? This is a moment in time to gather humanity together and volunteer for subjugation.
Well, I think that's right. And by the way, the left has always made the case that, this was going to be, we were going to have this green energy revolution, and then it was going to be good for us. It was going to be good for the economy. Now they're realizing, wait a minute, this is going to cost a whole hell of a lot of money. And incidentally, this is good for the American people. I mean, I think it's very educational for Americans to see how crazy, these people are. I mean, the left is nuts. I mean, the ideas in the Green New Deal. I mean, everybody knows how crazy these are. 70% tax rates. I know we're going to do, no plane travel. And by the way, I don't know, Dan or Amy, if you drove to work today, but if it wasn't considered an essential trip, you won't be able to do that anymore. You'll have to, jump on a bus or a train. These kinds of things. I mean, we're going to get rid of health insurance, by the way, and everybody's going to be covered by Medicare, whether you like it or not. And what was most surprising to me about this whole thing, though, look, AOC, how old is she? 29. Yeah. 29 years old. She doesn't know anything, right? I mean, I like her spunk and stuff, but she's not a very knowledgeable person. But what about all these Democratic presidential candidates who are standing right behind her? It's solidarity.
Absolutely.
Well, I know. That's why. What do you think of Mitch McConnell taking it to the Senate floor to see where people stand?
Finally, Mitch McConnell showing a little bit of backbone. I love it. Yeah, I want to see if a single. By the way, my prediction is that vote. First of all, I think a lot of the Democrats are going to be afraid to show up. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them don't show up for that vote. But I don't think it's going to get a single vote. Except, Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders probably would vote for it. But
well, Murky, he's a co-sponsor.
Do you think Dick Durbin's going to vote for that? Or who's your other senator?
Tammy Duckworth. Ed Murky's a co-sponsor.
Yeah, well, she might vote for it, right?
Well, Murky from Massachusetts co-sponsor. He's going to vote for it. I mean, he's not going to vote for the resolution he sponsored.
There's a crazy guy from Rhode Island, White House.
Sheldon Whitehouse. Sure, there's lots of crazy
He's kind of
people.
a crazy. But,
yeah.
Look, I was just in Ohio last week. Ohio's economy is absolutely booming right now. And the major reason that it's booming is because of the shale oil and gas revolution. They're right there in the Marcellus Shale. We're producing more natural gas in Ohio than any place in the world. She wants to shut that all down. She wants to shut down natural gas production, and natural gas is actually reducing greenhouse gases. These people are so stupid. They also originally, remember, they said they wanted to get rid of all nuclear power. Right. If you want to solve the greenhouse gas problem, you want to use more nuclear power, not less. There's no greenhouse gases from nuclear power.
Right. I remember a time when the Sierra Club was considered left. Now the Sierra Club, which concedes the need for nuclear power, now they're out of step with where the Democrat Socialist Party too. The Sierra Club can't get left enough.
Well, I mean, look, I love the example of what happened in Chicago. I see what's your temperature there today, about 15 degrees or something. But, when it was 30 below, there was a story in Bloomberg. You guys live there, so you can tell me if this was true, that the solar panels and the windmills didn't work. So they had to go to old-fashioned coal to keep people from, freezing to death, literally freezing to death in those cold days. Because guess what? When you most need energy, wind and solar power are least effective and least available. So, you'd literally have a lot of people die. I mean, energy is the master resource, right? Everything that we have derives from cheap and reliable energy, and they're going right at the heart of our economy with these. Let me put it very simply. Does anybody in their right mind really believe that in our $20 trillion industrial economy, we're going to provide enough electric power and enough transportation fuel from batteries to power a $20 trillion economy? I mean, it's utter nonsense.
Going to another aspect of the heart of our economy, trade, and word out this morning that Trump is not inclined to extend the trade deadline he's imposed on China, lest more tariffs are triggered. Where do you think that stands? How does that play out?
So that means they've got what? I think it's March 1st, right, is the deadline. Yeah. So that means they've got just less than 3 weeks to come up with some kind of deal. I think Trump is playing a little bit of games, brinksmanship here. But he is not bluffing that if China doesn't come forward with some kind of a deal that makes some concessions, and as you guys know, because we've argued about this on this show, I'm in favor of what Trump is doing with China. I think China is a really bad actor, and I think they need to be brought to heel. But if they don't make some kind of concessions here in terms of stopping the stealing of our intellectual property and reducing their barriers to Americans selling goods and services over there, I think Trump will go forward with that 25% tariff. It will hurt the U.S. economy. It'll destroy the Chinese economy. So I hope level heads prevail here. But you're dealing with the Beijing government. These guys are communists. Who knows what they're going to do?
All right. He is Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, CNN chief economist. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week. No more driving.
Right. And we'll see you next week. And you join us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560.